turn off the chatter. Hey guys, it's John out here on the back deck with my beautiful mug of coffee, enjoying the day. It is stunning out here. It's in the 70s. The sun is shining. The blue skies are blue and beautiful and just lovely. I sat down with a list of ideas for videos, and I decided that I'm just going to speak freely and openly about the time we're in. You know, there's a lot of chatter out there. There's a lot of people talking about how bad the future is going to be. There's some talking about how good the future is going to be. The news is just a chatter of people trying to get your attention. Social media, YouTube, is just a chatter of people trying to get your attention. It comes down to, what are they using to get your attention? What they use is your anxieties, your fears, your stresses. They try to elicit a response to make you go, oh my God, I better make sure I check out what that is. Same thing with the political structure. Same thing with, the spiritual communities, the churches. It all comes down to a bunch of chatter to get your attention so that you will look into their information. I find the more chatter that people create, the more they get further and further away from a peaceful mind in a peaceful place. Turn off the news. The story of Jesus walking by the boat in the storm is a beautiful story because he wasn't affected by the storm. He wasn't affected by the swirls of energetic motion of chatter that people were putting out around him. He was just saying, you're the one who can stay calm within yourself. When I look at the YouTube channels this morning, I was going through just looking at what other viral topics people were using. They're saying, 2024 is going to be so terrible. They're saying 2024 is going to have cataclysmic events. World War III is mentioned quite a bit. Spiritual revolution, spiritual warfare. You're seeing all of these scary prophecies being put out there, and the more popular someone seems to get, the more vitriol and fear mongering they tend to promote. And it's all just marketing. It's all just marketing. It's all just chatter. You are only responsible for your own serenity. You are alone. You alone are responsible for the way you live in life. I leave you one commandment: love one another. Just love one another. Just go out in the world, just love one another. The chatter goes away. The chatter will end when the political chatter will end in just a few months, and then it'll start up again several months later, right? The spiritual chatter will continue, but what you're going to find very quickly is that none of the spiritual chatter on YouTube right now, well, at least very little of it, has anything to do with loving one another. Has everything to do with prophetic things in the future or trying to create spiritual conspiracy theories out of the past. They're not present. They're not in the now. They're not in the here and now. I am is here and now. If they're telling you what the future is going to be, they don't know. The future is substance waiting for direction. It's directed by your belief. Negative people see a negative world because they believe it's negative, so their world is negative. Positive people see a positive world because they believe it's positive, and it's positive. We each are responsible for our own spiritual journey, our own personal vision of the world. We're only responsible for our own serenity. And When we succumb to other people's fear-based tactics or fear-based stories to get attention, we're living their life and not our own. You are only responsible for making your part of the world so bright. You can't save the world, and they're not saving the world. What they're doing is scaring you and making the world more scary. They're making your present moment more scary, which is making the world scarier. Because the more people they scare, the more people they get who are scared, who start creating from a scary place. Our job is to come back and be the serenity. What did Gandhi say? Be the change you want to see in the world. He didn't say be the change they want you to be in the world. He said be the change you want to see in the world. Be the change you want to see in the world. Love you all. I love you all. I want you to live a joyful, happy, loving life. I desire that for you. And the only person that can do that for you is you. No one can do it for you. If you're looking outside of yourself for all the answers, you're missing the answers. Joshua said in one of my regressions, and I'm saying it in one of my regressions because people want to call me out that I can't document that, whatever. It doesn't make this statement any more less true for me. And as I said, you should always judge by your own discernment. But the quote is, when you seek a path was laid before you. But until you turn the path back to yourself, you never find the doorway. It's about coming back to yourself. Well, here's the interesting thing about that statement. You are only yourself in the present moment. The past is just a collection of present moment memories, and the future is just a place where we set goals. But you never leave the present moment. Turn the path back to you, here in the now consciously. And consciously choose to live a loving life, consciously choose to live a joyful life, consciously choose to let go of other people's fear-based tactics, other people's chatter, other people's noise. Come back to a place of just simply loving. If you love coffee, go drink your beautiful, loving mug of coffee and enjoy that moment. Share a joke with somebody. What's Irish and sits on your front porch? Patio furniture, right? Start putting things out that are joyful and loving and start being the bright spot so people can start enjoying the bright spot. Here's the biggest secret in the world. Every big spiritual awakening experience, every enlightenment experience has two things in common: present moment and fearless. Present moment and fearless. The one place where you go there naturally is in a laugh. Find reasons to laugh every day. Find people to make reasons to make people laugh every day. Find people to be in that space of love and joy and compassion, that fearless present moment as often as you can. And what have you done? You've made your part of the world fearless and present. You've made your part of the world loving, because our natural tendencies, our natural state beneath our fears and anxieties is love. Fear is just the fog of delusion around us. We put this idea of fear and we can't see the world in a beautiful way because we've chosen to look through the goggles of fear. Put your love goggles on. Start looking at the world from a beautiful, loving place. Start realizing that you have the ability to make your part of the world so bright that the chatter just drifts away. It doesn't matter. People go blah, 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 blah. And people come on and yell at me all the time about stuff. I make a comment. They take a very broad, general statement that I may have made that has no specificity to it, but they'll add a specificity to it. They'll add an absoluteness to it. But they'll always add it out of a fear-based response. I'm just loving. When people will come on and they'll be looking for a problem. They'll be looking for a struggle. They'll be looking for an issue. They're trying to validate their chatter. And a lot of times they'll even come on and they'll say that I said something I never said, or they'll come on and they'll take something I said and they'll blow it out as if there is no gray areas in the world. There are no black and white areas. There's only gray areas. Everything's gray. There's always a point of view from another perspective. But the key really is when you lock into one saying, this is what it is, and you're wrong, and you're an idiot, you're gullible. Fastest way to get kicked off my channel. Call me a name. Call me a name. I just giggle and just hide you from the channel because I'm not allowing your vitriol on the channel, right? I don't get into your chatter. And the less you allow other people's chatter and negativity and fear-based stuff affect your life, the happier your life is. I don't buy into all these ancient conspiracy theories. I also don't buy into these um these new age conspiracy theories. I, I think it's all far simpler. As I've often said, I measure all of my spiritual experiences through the veil of simplicity. I am looking through it. Is this simple or is this not? You know, why do I do that? My first regression, I literally said it's so simple we have a hard time comprehending it. So that means I need to be looking for the simplicity of it. And the chatter's not simple. The chatter's just chatter trying to put fear into the response. The simplicity of Buddha saying the secret to enlightenment is eradication of fear. I feel the fear, anything negative is a fear. Anything positive is on the loving side of that scale, right? And so when I see somebody coming at me with calling names, all that stuff, yeah, to me, I just go, it's just their fears and their anxieties, and I'm not going to dive into their chatter. I'm not going to live their life. I'm going to live my own, and I'm joyfully living my own, sitting on my back porch, drinking my cup of coffee. And I think it's important to realize that we have the ability to let go of the chatter and just be our own future, our own life, our own experiences of the world. We get to create it. We get to create it in the here and now. And there's in this only moment you ever live, this only moment you ever live. You never live in the future. You never live in the past. You only live in the present moment. That's the only place you're conscious. Right here, right now. Are you going to waste this moment on the chatter of others, or are you going to live this moment in love, joy, and compassion? And if you can just get rid of the chatter and come back to the love, joy, and compassion, then you can walk on the water like Joshua did. You walk by and say, look, the storms don't bother me. The chatter doesn't bother me. The world doesn't bother me. I'm here joyfully living my life, my way. I am the way, the truth, and the life. I am my way, my truth, and my life. I am living my way, my truth, and my life. And that's the key. Live your way, your truth, and your life, but choose the way, choose the truth, choose the life. And I don't think any one of you would choose to live in a negative, horrible, fear-based world. I think every one of you would prefer to live in a beautiful, loving, caring world. The only way we get that world is if each one of us decides to create it. If each one of us decides in this world to be loving, to be caring, to look out for our fellow man, it's when each one of us decides to do that that we save the world. It's when each one of us decides to look at someone who thinks diametrically opposed to us and saying, I see you, I hear you, I love you, I respect you, I don't agree with you, but I think we can agree to disagree and still love each other and still be friends. That's the important part of this, is to realize that the chatter is just chatter. The chatter is just chatter. And if you're having an emotional response to the chatter, that's your fears and anxieties. That's your defense mechanisms. That's your fight or flight response, all reacting that way. Exhale. Let it go. Let the chatter drift away, because it really doesn't affect your life unless you give it permission to. And that's my thought on this. You guys have a great day, and I'll talk to you soon. See ya. Bye.